So far, this course has treated AI use mostly as a conversation. You write a prompt, you get a response, refine it. In a previous unit, you also learned to give the AI better material to work from, tools, sources, and workspaces. In this unit, we take the next step. We move from writing good prompts to designing good workflows. Here is the core idea. Good AI use is not just about writing what good prompt, it's about designing a repeatable process in which AI helps you think, create, check, revise, and decide, while you stay in control. Compare two patterns. The weak pattern is ask the AI once, accept the answer, and submit it. The stronger pattern is define your goal, provide context, ask AI to help, critique what it produced, verify it, revise it, and only then decide. One is a single transaction, the other is a process. We can put it this way. Prompting is a communication skill. It's about expressing what you want clearly. Workflow design is a productivity skill. It's about organizing a task so that the right work happens at the right step by the right party. Why isn't one good prompt enough? Because most real tasks are not single steps. Help me write an essay sounds like one task, but it actually contains many. Understanding the question, brainstorming arguments, choosing a thesis, finding evidence, building an outline, drafting, checking the logic, improving clarity, and verifying citations. A single prompt might give you a fluent essay, but fluent is not the same as accurate, original, well argued, or right for your specific assignment. Our workflow lets you bring judgments to each of those steps instead of collecting them into one. So, what is an AI assist workflow? A workflow is simply a sequence of steps used to complete a task. An AI assist workflow uses AI at selected points in that process, but it does not hand the entire task over to AI. The useful way to think about this is as a distributed work. Part of the task is carried by you, part by the AI, and part by external tools and sources. The key design question is not, should I use AI, but who should do each step and where does my judgment need to stay? Let's make that concrete with the writing workflow. When you're understanding the assignment, your role is to read the requirements. The AI's role is to explain confusing parts. When you brainstorm, you choose a direction. The AI generates possible angles. For the outline, you select the argument. The AI suggests a structure. When you draft, you write in your own voice. The AI offers phrasing suggestions. For critique, you judge quality. The AI helps identify weakness. For verification, you check the sources. The AI flags claims that need evidence. And when you revise, you make the decision. The AI suggests improvements. At every step, notice the pattern. The human stays responsible for the final output. That gives us a simple rule for dividing the work. AI is good at generating possibilities, explaining concepts, summarizing, outlining, asking practice questions, giving feedback, and helping with first draft. You should stay responsible for choosing goals, making judgments, checking facts, drawing on your own experience, asserting your voice, verifying sources, and upholding integrity. Let AI assist the process, but don't let AI own the decision. Before we go further, a word of balance. Not every task needs a workflow. If you just want to rephrase one sentence, fix a typo, or look up a definition, a single prompt is perfectly fine. Building a multi-step process around it would only waste your time. Workflows earn their keep when a task is bigger, higher stakes, or repeat it. An essay that counts toward your grade, a study plan for a hard exam, a piece of analysis you will have to defend. The deeper the task and the more it matters, the more a workflow protects both the quality of your work and your own learning. Match the size of the process to the size of the task. A lot of the skill here is turning a vague goal into a workflow and then start with decomposition, breaking a big goal into smaller steps. Suppose your goal is I want to prepare for my economics exam. That's a wish, not a process. Decomposed, it becomes a workflow. List the topics covered, rate your confidence on each, identify your weak areas, create a study plan, generate practice questions, attempt that without AI, use AI to check your answers, review your mistakes, and repeat. There's a prompting move that makes this easier. Instead of jumping straight to make me a study plan, you can ask AI to help you design the process first. I have an exam in 10 days. Help me break this into a workflow with steps for diagnosis, revision, practice, feedback, and review. Don't create the plan yet. First, help me design the process. Clarifying the process before the product is what turns a one-off answer into something repeatable. This brings us to a principle that runs through every good workflow. Keep a human in the loop. A human in the loop workflow means you stay actively involved. The AI never runs unchecked. The cycle looks like this. AI suggests, you review, AI revise, you verify, and you decide. In practice, that means you don't copy blindly, you read output critically, you check important claims, you compare alternatives, you revise in your own voice, and you always know what you are submitting or using. Once you start thinking in workflows, you will notice that a few patterns come up again and again. Here are 4 worth keeping in your back pocket. The first is generate, critique, and revise. It's useful for essay, presentation, and proposals. You ask AI to generate 3 possible outlines, then you ask it to critique them and say which is strongest and why. Then you have it revise the strongest one to be clearer and more original. Notice that you are using the AI's critique on its own generation with your judgment steering. The second is explain, quiz, diagnose, review, a studying pattern. Ask the AI to explain a concept simply, then to quiz you with a few questions without showing the answer. Then give it your answers and ask it to identify your misconception. Then have it create a short revision note focused only on your weak areas. This builds in retrieval practice. Testing yourself before seeing the answer, which research shows help you remember far better than rereading. The third is plan, stress test, adjust, useful for planning. Ask for a 2-week plan based on your constraint, then ask AI to stress test it. One might go wrong, then have it revise the plan assuming, say, that you'll miss 1 day each week. A plan that has survived a stress test is far more realistic than the first one you are handed. The fourth is draft, verify, finalize for factual writing. Have the AI draft a short explanation, then ask it to list every factual claim that needs verification, and revise the explanation using only what you've actually verified. This is the verification habit from Unit 3, built directly into a process. Let's see one of these in action. Imagine you are writing a short argumentative essay on whether your city should expand its bus network. Using generate, critique, revise, you first ask AI for 3 different angles: economic, environmental, and equity-based. You pick the equity angle because it's the one you can speak to, Then you write your own rough thesis and ask, critique this thesis as a skeptical examiner. What's weak? What's unsupported? It points out that you assume a claim about coming times. You check the figure against an official transport report, a tool step, not an AI step. Correct it and ask AI to suggest a sharper way to phrase the revised argument. Form moves, but at no point did AI decide your position or hand your finished essay. You stay the author. One warning before we close. A workflow can also become a trap when the process looks productive but actually reduces your learning or the quality of your work. Letting AI generate everything, polishing endlessly without understanding, summarizing readings you never read, asking AI to solve problems before you attempt them, treating its output as finer. These all feel like progress while quietly hollowing it out. A good workflow should improve two things at once: the quality of the output and your own ability. If a process improves the output but weakens your understanding, it's a trap, not a workflow. It's worth pausing on why this skill is worth building now. Strong learners don't just complete tasks, they plan, monitor, evaluate, and adjust how they work. A workflow makes that cycle explicit. It forces you to set a goal, check your progress, and decide what to keep. And unlike a clever one-off prompt, our workflow transfers. The habit of generate, critique, verify, revise, decide will serve you the same way in a literature review, a lab report, an internship deliverable, and your first job. You are not just finishing today's assignment, you are building a way of working with AI that stays reliable as tasks get harder and the stakes get higher. So, to recap, we moved from prompting, a communication skill, to workflow design, a productivity skill. We saw that real tasks have many steps and that a workflow distributes those steps across you, the AI, and external tools, with your judgment staying in control. We turn a vague goal into a workflow through decomposition, kept the human in the loop, and collected four reusable patterns: generate, critique, revise, explain, quiz, diagnose, review, plan, stress test, adjust, and draft, verify, finalize. And we saw how to recognize a workflow trap. You may have noticed that some of these workflows are ones you run again and again. That raises a natural question. Could you package a workflow so you don't have to rebuild it every time? And even let the AI carry out more of the steps itself? That's exactly where we go next. In the next unit, we move from workflows to agent skills, reusable instruction packages, and AI agents that can take multiple steps toward a goal, along with the supervision that keeps them safe.